When I discovered my husband was having an affair with my own sister, it felt as if the ground had split open beneath me. It wasn't only betrayal. It was humiliation, fury, grief. And then came the final blow. She was pregnant, I remember, standing in our kitchen, my hands shaking so badly, I had to hold on to the counter just to remain standing. My husband couldn't even meet my eyes. My sister cried, insisting it just happened, insisting she never meant to fall in love. Her words burned in my ears like acid. I didn't scream. I didn't beg. I filed for divorce. The scandal spread through our extended family like wildfire. People chose sides. Some said my sister was young and naive. Others insisted my husband had manipulated her. I didn't care. I removed both of them from my life completely. I changed the locks, blocked their numbers, and I refused to let him see our children until the court settled everything. I needed distance. I needed safety. My kids needed stability. For 3 months, anger carried me through. It fueled every day. It kept me strong. Whenever I imagined them together, I hardened my heart even further. Then one night, someone knocked on my door. For illustration purposes only. When I opened it, I almost didn't recognize her. My sister stood there wearing dirty clothes, her hair tangled and unwashed. Her face looked pale and hollow. She was shaking, not only from the cold, but from something deeper. Fear. I didn't know where else to go. She whispered. I should have shut the door. Instead, I stepped aside. She entered the house like a ghost. She didn't defend herself. She didn't try to justify anything. She simply sat on my couch holding her stomach, looking smaller than I had ever seen her. That night, everything changed. Around midnight, I heard her scream from the bathroom, a sound so raw it cut straight through me. I rushed in and found her collapsed on the floor, Belle au deep pooling beneath her. She kept repeating, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't stop to think. I just reacted. I wrapped her in towels, grabbed my keys, and rushed her to the hospital. I stayed beside her while the doctors hurried her away. I filled out forms. I answered questions. I gave them her medical history because I knew it better than she did. She misdossiered. The baby was gone. When she finally fell asleep in her hospital bed, pale and exhausted, I went home to collect some clean clothes for her. While washing the clothes she had been wearing, I noticed something sewn into the lining of her jumper, a hidden pocket. Inside was a small velvet pouch, and inside the pouch was a tiny silver baby bracelet. Delicate, beautiful, with a little pink foot charm. My hands began to tremble. Engraved on it was one name, Angela, my name. I sat down on the edge of the bathtub and stared at it for a long time. For illustration purposes only, she had planned to name her daughter after me. After everything. The affair hadn't frightened her. The scandal hadn't changed her decision. She had been ready to raise that baby alone. She hadn't come to my door to beg for my husband back. She hadn't come to create drama. She came because she had nowhere else to go. And suddenly, the story I had been telling myself began to fall apart. Yes, she had betrayed me. But he had chased her. He had lied to both of us. He had promised her stability, and then disappeared when things became difficult. He had destroyed our marriage, and then abandoned her when she needed him the most. He had broken both of us. I returned to the hospital early the next morning. She looked so small lying in that bed. When she saw me, panic filled her eyes. You don't have to stay, she said quickly. I know you hate me." I didn't answer. I simply walked over and hugged her. At first, she froze. Then she completely broke down, sobbing against my shoulder the same way she used to when we were little girls, and she had nightmares. "I never wanted to hurt you," she whispered. "I know," I said softly. And for the first time since everything fell apart, I felt something other than anger. I felt clarity. Forgiveness didn't come instantly. It wasn't a magical moment where everything disappeared. It was a decision. I chose not to allow one man's selfishness to destroy two sisters. When she was discharged, I brought her home with me. At first, the kids were confused. But children are gentler than adults. They remember laughter more than they remember scandal. Slowly, she became Auntie again, reading bedtime stories, packing lunches, showing up at school events. She never asked for anything. She simply helped. She cooks dinner when I work late. She braids my daughter's hair. She sits in the front row at my son's soccer games and cheers louder than anyone. Our house, once filled with tension and whispered arguments, is peaceful now. We rarely talk about him. He exists somewhere in the background, in legal paperwork and supervised visits. But he no longer stands at the center of our lives. What I learned from all of this is simple. Revenge would have been easy. For illustration purposes, only bitterness would have been understandable. But kindness built something stronger. My sister lost her child. I lost my marriage. But we didn't lose each other. And in the end, that's what saved both of us.